Let's try this again.
Microphone check, 1, 2.
Mic check, 1, 2. Welcome to the greatest UA4 gaming channel.
Welcome to the dungeon, ladies and gentlemen. You're here
Welcome
with,
all.
Yeah. You're here with your boy Kaotic, DaVinci, and
Bebo Jenkins.
yes, sir. All right, we're here today to talk about the launch of the Marvel's Avengers. We were very pumped and excited for this release, and we are here to talk about a few things like the mechanics of the game, the presentation of the game, the special features that we experience with each character. We're going to rank the characters for you, and basically give you a little bit of our pros and cons of how we feel.
Yeah. At the end of this video, what we want you to get from it is this game a game that you should buy right now or a game that you should hold off? And hopefully this is going to be able to give you a better buying decision and a well-informed before you go out there and get the game. So without further ado, take it, Kaotic.
Rock and roll.
That looks awesome.
Because it is awesome. $1.4 billion vanity project. I may incinerate on takeoff, but I'll look damn good doing it.
All systems are in the green, sir. But I must warn you, a large storm system has moved into your direct flight path.
Never rains, but it pours. Well, we can't wait any longer.
Tony, I loaded up some music to give you a little boost.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, it's not mine. You can do this.
Thanks, kid.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Tony, you're flying right into the storm system.
I see it, kid. There's no turning back now. Up, on, down. Looks like that storm fried my system. Come on, Jarvis, you still there? Guys, my system's starting to short out. Jarvis, come on up. Jarvis, I'm on fire. A jet booster. Gotta do it manually. Woo! Close call. Oh, shit!
Yeah, I did.
Player ranking.
All right, so in order of, I gave Thor a 10, Iron Man a 9, Captain is gonna get an 8, Black Widow's gonna get a 7, Kamala's gonna get a 6, and Hulk for me is definitely 5.
Oh shit, that's a good one. I give Thor definitely a 10. I have really very little complaints.
Yeah.
About him.
I was very, very impressed with him. And if I had not played the beta so much with Iron Man, I would have definitely switched to Thor because his animations are... I mean, they did a really great job with him. And I'm a heavy Iron Man fan. And after playing with him on his missions and then seeing you play with him, I was like, man, this guy is
He's the
definitely
business. He's the
yeah,
business.
he's really really good.
Remember, before the game came out, my assumption was, I said my favorites would probably be Thor or Cap. That was my favorite. Like,
Yeah.
my assumption out of the two. But my next grade for my number 2 would be Hulk. Hulk for me is an easy. He's got to be like at least a 9. He's very strong. He's not strong. His animations are very strong. Like, I love his animations. I think most of his moves are very, very well thought of because it's very destructive and quick and fluid. I like that about him. But my negative is the fact that the way the game is designed, it's to make you all equals and have your own power levels, and due to that, it makes Hulk kind of boring because I gotta hit a dude 50 times to knock him out.
Yeah, that's one thing that turned me off about him. I normally Hulk is like a tank type of person. He's the guy that goes in, aggroes all the other, all the mobs all the NPCs that you're fighting, and they focus on him. I've never been that type of a player. I've more been of the damage person, the damage output DPS.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very very hard. Even when the beta launched, I had a hard time. Remember the first mission, I just had a very tough time completing it. It essentially was a simple mission, but it's just I don't play tanks very well. That's just my thing. What I do like about him, he has great mobility. When he starts to like jump and ramming people, he gets going. So that's something that I really enjoy about playing as Hulk. And I have to say the thing that I don't want to be biased against him because I haven't really unlocked all his moves and all his specials, or maybe a little bit more of his defensive stuff on the skill tree. So that's why I'm not gonna be too harsh for him. I'm sure that they eventually, when you could get more animations, more finishers, I'll come around and he's definitely gonna be one of my top ones and the only tank because I don't see me tanking with anybody else.
The rumor mill is that they possibly might have a She-Hulk later, so that might be interesting. Can you imagine?
Yeah, because she is part of the Avengers, you know. So
that'd be interesting to have that too. My other one would be, let's see, what would be my number 3 is Widow.
Look for a chest with gear nearby.
All right, who's first?
That's curfew!
And I give her a solid, I would say, 8.5. And the reason why she get an 8.5, to me, they did a very good job designing a character that has no powers but can hang with the boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think
definitely.
they made her very, very fluid, where she doesn't feel like you're trying too hard because you can go between her weapons and her dodging ability, and her striking is amazing. And once you use her special with the staff, oh my God, it's just
that has to be one of my favorite things. Kind of going back to Ninja Turtles, she goes Donatello on them, and it's definitely one of my. She's good. I like playing as Black Widow. I like how they they gave her the range, with her weapons.
Yeah.
So not only she's DPS, but you're also able to go ahead and shoot, and it's really really good. And I specifically like the animation where you gotta reload. It's not just automatic pa 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 pa. So they didn't overpowered her. They gave her just enough to be a very playful or very you could utilize her in many ways. So
They made
And
her
another thing,
very user friendly. Like,
yes.
and that's one thing I liked about it is that she doesn't feel like you have to try too hard, which is what I thought was gonna have to happen because everybody else is so superpowered, so they're gonna give her all these stupid things. But no, they made her fluid.
Yeah.
She fits in, and everything. I love how they give each character the ability to grapple in some way, shape, or form. You know?
Yes.
Because that's very important in this game, and I think it helps, especially with her fighting.
Right.
So solid. I don't really have many negatives to say about her build. I like her overall. My number four would have to be Iron Man.
AIM has evacuated the city due to heavy inhuman activity.
Sounds like an excuse to experiment on dangerous technology. Maybe your heat signature hunch was right. A giant stash of initiator cores could power their experiments.
The facility is heavily guarded. Expect resistance upon your arrival.
You mean they won't be happy to see me?
And I'm making him number 4 only because I'm not super into his entire laser category. I thought of, in the movies it's cool watching him do his thing, but doing it in the game, I'm not a huge fan of that. I love the rockets and all how they have it all set up. I do love the repulsor setup. He feels good. There's not really much negative to say about it. It's just that I get the same feel playing with Thor as far as the flying mechanics is concerned. So I don't really need Iron Man because I got Thor to do that with. So for me, it makes Iron Man less valuable for me. Because Thor's ranked so high, he's my number 1. So easy. I think Iron Man just falls that low due to that, and it works out because that's your guy. So
Right. Yeah. To me, Thor and Iron Man. I think Thor is the best character to play with, and he's the most OP in the game. But I'm such an Iron Man fan that I really enjoy his repulsors, man. The way I have him set up, I have a lot of damage going into range. So, and the reason I do that is because, let's say if we're all fighting together, I could go help you out, give him a 1-2, and then immediately shoot the repulsors, if I see somebody else is, struggling with somebody. Not only that, I make it a habit when we first go in a big fight, I take out all the lasers out, because the lasers they're a really annoyance. And I like the way that they did that, because you're out there, you're hooking and jabbing, and then all of a sudden you get shot by like 2 lasers, and they've taken like at least half of my life. Yeah. So whenever we go in, I like to go ahead and take out the lasers, and the best way for me to do that is either with the repulsors or the lasers. Now, the one mechanic that I have to say I did not like as well is the lasers, because when you hold the L1 or L2 to aim, it's just too much. I would like him to be able to shoot the lasers, boom, out. The repulsors, you could do that. There is a skill in the tree, where you can make them faster. I would have liked his lasers to go out and be able to shoot a lot quicker. His out of all 3, the rockets for me pack more punch than the repulsors. I think the repulsors are very, very weak.
The only thing I hate about the rockets is they reload slow. So
yes,
that's the issue. So I find myself, I'll shoot a couple rockets and then I immediately switch to repulsors because of the reload time. Yeah,
there is a skill in the skill tree that I really enjoyed. I unlocked it. I think the last time when we played, you fly around and you hold circle, and he automatically launches rockets at the enemies around. And I think that was amazing. It's kind of like in the movie when he first comes out and he shoots all the rockets to the enemy. I was like, wow.
Fanboy moment.
I don't want to talk so much about Iron Man because he is my favorite character, but I really like the way that they really build him. I like the fact that you could be flying up there in the air and then all of a sudden jump down and smack the ground, and it kind of like throws everybody off. His arc overload to me is very, very useful. His beam, I have to say, I'm not a big fan. I think that they could done a little bit more damage, but I think I already have it maxed out. It's not gonna go any higher than that. So that's my thing. My top two are definitely Thor and Iron Man. Iron Man beats out Thor just because I like Iron Man's story so much. I've always been a fan, but it's kind of hard with those two for me.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, we got two more characters for me.
Yeah.
Cap is 5 and Kamala's a 6.
Hey there, old friend.
So, don't let me down. And good luck.
That's a lot of pressure.
No, it's...
Or Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah. I like both of them. Do not get me wrong. They're not ranked low because they suck. They just rank low because for me, their use in comparison to the other characters are.
Yeah, their utility is a little bit lower.
Yeah, for my fight style, I like Cap, but he's limited. Like to me, they make Widow more fluid than they do Cap. Cap is more powerful. He's more strong. He can do a lot. He has a good finisher. I like his what is it, Bronx Brawl or Brooklyn Brawl?
Yeah, Bronx Brawl. Brawl, yeah.
Yeah, he has some good stuff. Don't get me wrong, but other than that, I like the characters so far. I think we're going to be heading in an awesome direction when these other characters come out. So I'm excited to see how that works.
I agree. Miss Marvel, for the role that they gave her, is putting everything together and being part of the Inhumans. I think that they did a great job. Captain, for me, I use him. I don't mind him. He's not one of my favorites. The same thing with Miss Marvel. The reason being is, she's like a stretchy. She's like Mr. Fantastic. She's definitely not my playstyle. What I do like about her, if you use one of the special where she puts the hand and she pushes people's away.
Yeah.
That does come in pretty handy sometimes, and I like the fact that with the other one, it kind of, if the party's slow, if you're in a tough spot or a tough mission, like we do sometimes, we push ourselves. You have the ability to heal the team,
Right.
So that has a lot of utility. It's a great support character. But it's just not my
forte.
I'll play it. Yeah, I'll play it if I have to, take the grenade for the team. But
yeah, but it's only 4 characters you could ever play with at a time. So I highly doubt you'll ever be in competition to have to play that.
Yeah, definitely not everybody won't. As a matter of fact, she's one of the readily available ones.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
My overall favorite part of this game was how you learned to play the game with each character through a basic tutorial that didn't feel overdone and that didn't feel or that felt fluid. It felt like it was a part of the game, and you're just like, oh, this is how you do this now, this is how you do that now with this character, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, and it was the best tutorial I've ever seen for a game, hands down. Every time you get a new character, you're flowing with the story, and they're teaching you the abilities as you go, and you're unlocking everything as you go, and you're building your character as you go in the story. That was well done. I loved it.
I have to agree 100%. The character specific heroic missions, they were absolutely, I mean, in my eyes, it was great. Because going back to when I played Thor's mission, I was just blown away. And even his introduction when he comes in, with his looks like he just came out of an AA meeting. I thought that was great, and he saves the journalist. I was like, man, to me, I was like, that was very, very well done. I like how each of them have their own room in the Harrier.
Right.
You know, I was blown away by those level details. Like if you go to Thor's room, you can't pick up his hammer. So, and I like how when Iron Man goes into his room, he tells Jarvis to clean up or take care of all this pending stuff.
The transformation of Modoc or Maddock, I can't say his name right. Modoc, Maddock. His transformation, I love that part of the story. Seeing how he went from just a, deranged scientist to a straight up madman.
Yeah.
You need to listen to logic and reason.
Why start now? Wait! No! Stuff was in there.
How you feeling?
I've never felt better.
Your synthetics were useless. If you'd let me deal with the Hulk and Khan earlier, the archive would still be standing.
Watch your words.
You no longer make the rules. He does.
When I was young, I found an orphaned wolf cub in the forest behind our farm.
What?
Dad said it was too dangerous. He told me to get rid of it. I fed that cub. I named him. I watched him play with my beloved dog, Darwin.
You're wasting my time.
I felt if I could instill rules, the proper boundaries, I could harness the raw power of that beast.
Have you done rambling?
Almost. A few months later, while hunting, the adolescent cub turned on me, snarling, frothing at the mouth. Darwin bought me a few precious moments to call for help. My dad shot the wolf, but it was too late. Darwin had been torn to pieces.
George. We need him.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Leave. Please.
And then how they used, the whole story with Cap and turning him into made up with Cap's blood. That was awesome. I like that whole thing. I like that story with Iron Man going to space and that whole thing. I mean, I thought that was all cool. I thought that was.
I really like that. I like that we got to see him in the white suit. I was like, oh man, that's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I like is the fact that if you don't want to pay for any of your customization or any of your suits, you don't have to. You have to grind, you have to grind for it. But, all this is going to be free content. Now, the drawback to this, which is very smart from a business perspective that they do is, hey, this is only limited for, it's only going to be available for like the next day or so. So me, I was like,
play with that character for the next 10 hours to try to get that damn suit that you want, right?
Right. So there is one animation finishing animation that I wanted to get with Iron Man, which I didn't ended up getting because I'm being cheap right now. Is where he grabs the guy, throws him up, and then he shoots a beam of the laser, at him. And then there's another one. He takes him up in the air, cobbles him a little bit, and then he shoots the other laser. So I was like, oh man, that was like, to me, I was this close to doing it. Like we were playing it with Just Wicked the other day. He said, oh, I already dropped like $20. He almost got me to commit, but I was like, I gotta wait for the PS5, so I'm saving my money for that. Yeah. So definitely that's something that I really like, because a lot of these games, they after they drop, you pay $60 and then you have to keep paying for the DLC and all that. And I think that's a big ripoff for the gamers out there. Back in the day, we never had that problem.
Right.
Prime example. Something else that I wish they would have done better is the missions. The missions after a while they started to get a little bit repetitive. They were short, and some of them it was just seemed like they were in the same, like the Utah. So if you go back to Utah, you're gonna get woods, and it was just like the same layout almost. The depots kind of like the loot system. It's a little bit, uh, to me, it's not as rewarding. Like if I'm gonna clear a depot, I want to get higher cachet of loot.
Yep.
And sometimes I'm just like, well, that was a little bit of waste of time.
I felt
but
the loot wasn't explained well either. Like,
yeah,
you're getting loot, but you don't know why, and you have to
Right.
read each one of them to try to understand what they're meant for. And
Right.
then later on, I was wondering why I kept dying really bad on certain stages, and come to find
Mhm.
out it was because I had my loot system set up wrong. I wasn't
Yeah.
attaching the right stuff to my character to start the mission,
Mhm.
because I wasn't reading all that stuff. Who wants to sit there and read all this stuff? Like, at least
Right.
pop up a message that says warning if you don't change your, whatever. I don't know. I think it could have been
Yeah.
done better. It could have been explained better. That
Mhm.
was kind of like they're just assuming you know how to play games that has a loot system. Everybody doesn't
Yeah.
play those type of games, so I think that's kind of bad on their part.
Yeah, I know this is like one of your first RPGs besides the one that you were playing, the horror one in the spaceship.
Hellpoint.
Forgot the name.
Yeah.
Hellpoint. Yeah. So me looking at you playing this your first RPG, I could definitely see your frustration with it. And I play a lot of RPGs. They're one of my favorite genre to play. That is something that they definitely should have taught better and presented better, the loot system, for somebody that's coming new into the RPG. This game would have been great if it was just open world. Granted, they did say, this is not going to be open world. I'm not mad at the fact that I can't fly up to the, into space. I'm not mad about that. But if they would have made this game open world, to me, it would have been better, because we could say, okay, now we all got to get to X. So maybe somebody could pilot the Harrier, or, me being Iron Man, we could fly over there, and you being Thor, we could fly together and then kind of take out some enemies before, Hulk and everybody arrives. Or then, I don't know, maybe Black Widow is going to fly the Quinjet, something like that. So that's something that I understand it would have been a behemoth of a project for them to pull off and more, but this is, as a fan of Marvel, I think this would have been great. And if Kill the Justice League game does that, they're gonna have a hard time. Avengers is gonna have a hard time competing with the Suicide. Yeah, it's gonna be really, really hard for them to do that. No, the fighting mechanics is very, very fluid. The UI, the UI, the head-up display, it's very good. It gives you the right information that you need. Because sometimes I'm constantly looking like, man, how long till I get to activate one of my specials? So I like how they have the timer in there, and I like how you could have some items to make that go quicker. So definitely the gameplay, it's very, very fluid. Like I was mentioning before, two people could go add into a NPC and straight up like start demolishing him. I think it's the spider. If both, if there's two people hitting it, there's a chance, that you have to go in the back and it activates the special. I really like, especially when I don't like to play as Hulk, but if I'm playing with Hulk and he does that Hulk smash thing, animation, I think that it's amazing. I like the fact that I could be flying, I go down, you're fighting somebody, I shoot one of my repulsors, and then boom, I could go the other direction, to help somebody else out. So I think that it's a great, they did a great job on putting everything together and making sure that the gameplay is very, very smooth. When it comes to that. So I have no complaints when it comes to the fighting mechanics. They did a great job in giving you enough to make you feel like you're actually playing the character that you're holding on at that point at that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The mechanics and the presentation to me was spot on. I think the graphics are great. And of course, by next gen, it probably will be amazing.
Yeah.
According to R1 on the PC, he says it's 10, like on a scale of 1 to 10, he likes it at 10 in comparison to the playing it on PlayStation.
Knowing him, he probably says it's a 20.
Right. So that says a lot. So their presentation, they didn't fall short with the skins and the different customability they gave you is really cool.
Yeah.
But the other probably negative to add to that loot thing would be the loot system and the skins, all that. They kind of have, like, honestly, they have no what's the word, like, visual changes. So
visual changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, I have to agree. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah.
You would think you're adding that stuff to give them an ability.
Yeah.
So it should be some type of attachment that adds to their armor or something, improves their look, something. I think that's
a great point, because let's say when you're upgrading the hand majiggy, thingy, or the repulsors for Iron Man, I like the fact that you could see the 3D when he's trying it on.
Yeah.
But yes, I definitely would like to see some type, maybe like I don't know, a little
change
light.
The graphic of the way it looks.
Yeah.
Just to make it look like a
maybe
different thing.
Light. Yeah, I definitely have to agree. That's something that I didn't like, that no matter what piece of gear you could get, it could be legendary, it could be purple, it all looks the same. So I would have liked, a lot of times in RPG games, once you hit like higher tier of gear, your whole character glows. Obviously, I mean, maybe Iron Man or Thor is not gonna glow, but maybe have like more lightning, coming through. Like Black Widow, I don't know, maybe she could have like, instead of giving that skin where she has the little red lines on the tape, maybe that could have been the higher end tier of loot for her.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely something that I have to agree with you on that one. So I'm gonna start with I think this game should have been released for PS5, and I know this is a very harsh and critical thing because I'm playing it in old PS4, original PS4. It doesn't have 4K capabilities, doesn't have an SSD drive. I had to upgrade my hard drive, but I understand maybe why they did it. Studios need to make money, but they would have made a bigger impact, a bigger splash in my eyes if they would have, dropped for PS5, because I've seen a lot of videos, and even in the beta, people playing on PC, people playing on, PS4 Pro, like yourself, and R1, and I could definitely see where the frame drops, and to me, I'm a stickler for that. I could take a lower quality video graphics as long as I have a fluid gameplay. I could care, less for graphics in reality. If you give me a solid gameplay that's run smooth, fluid, no, jerky movements, I would sacrifice that. Obviously, some things that I need to look into, that is the end of the life cycle for the PS4. They pushed the engine to the max. So I have to understand that. But that is definitely one of the biggest thing that I really disliked about this game. That is a solid, for me, it's a solid no-go on that part.
My biggest critique, or my biggest critic about this game, would be their lack of substance for the storyline. I expected more. When I started the story, and you're looking at your little tree where you can see everything and all your missions, right? The storyline is called what? Reassemble the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
I literally thought that was like one little story that we're gonna complete, and then something else is gonna pop up, bigger and better to continue. Especially at the end, because spoiler alert, MODOK or whatever his name is wasn't killed. He got away. You know what I'm saying? So where's the rest? I mean, I know they're probably gonna drop a bunch of DLCs. They already mentioned there's gonna be a bunch of story, especially coming with each character. There's gonna be story coming with that. That's great. But at launch, you needed more substance. I'm talking, we beat this game in about a good 12-hour setting. If you really commit to it and you have nothing else going on, you can beat this whole game.
Yeah.
The campaign all the way through. That makes no sense to me. So I get it. They focus more on multiplayer, so that is something I can't grade them on as of right now because multiplayer is very limited. But that's supposed to be their main focus, and I guess we'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, for me, the story was great. The way they used Kamala as the anchor of the story was smart because she's a unique character, someone that most people wouldn't usually care about anyway. And they brought her to the game, you know, and made her feel like a part of the story. And they used her abilities and how she got them, which is all tied into the story. And because of the Avengers is how she ended up how she is, right? So it made so much sense, and I liked it, especially that she was a fangirl already. So it played well.
All right, so my first impression for the game on a scale of 1 to 10, I have to give it a 6. And the reason why is because even though it has a really good presentation, the gameplay with all the other characters is very smooth. They could have done a lot better in the sense of the repetitiveness of the missions. The customization could have brought out a little bit more. And definitely the frame rate issue for me is the nail in the coffin. So for those reasons, I think that this game should have been released for PS5, and I'm giving it a solid 6.
Cool. I give it a solid 7. My main reason for that 7 is what I explained earlier. I thought they could have had more substance for that single player that enjoys the game that he buys or she buys for the purpose of the actual story. You know, it's a part of the reason why I started to not play Call of Duty so much, because Call of Duty was getting away from the story. And that was the main draw for me back in the day of playing Call of Duty, was the story mode. I, of course, do multiplayer and play online as well, but I enjoy the story. These days, a lot of people don't. Some people that play other games like 2K, same concept. They don't care for my career story. I do. I like to play that part. I want to see the effort that the studio puts into creating the game. Because when I grew up as a little, 80s baby, growing up in the 90s, when we played video games, that was it. There was no online play.
It was more story.
That was all story. So for me, that's a part of just my growth. I still appreciate that. And I don't think they put a great effort into this game with that, due to the fact that they're focusing mostly on multiplayer. So for me, that kind of was a kick in the butt for me, because I thought this game would have a lot of story. The way they advertised it, a lot of the stuff they showed was just the main missions from the main stories. But that's all you got? That's the only, Avengers Initiative or Initiate the Avengers, that's the only story? Like, where's the rest? Like, we should have more, or you better have more. Don't get me wrong, later on, if they start dropping DLCs and it's more story and you're chasing after AIM and you're chasing after this or that, then I might come back and say, you know what? I take everything back. But as of today, in the month of their launch, I'm not so satisfied. But we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah.
So as of right now, that's my biggest issue. And then I do have some issues with the frame rates, but nothing like what you've experienced. So I mean, I think those will improve. Another reason why they're getting a grade, the biggest flaw for me, I hate wasting my time. And this game does a lot of wasting my time, because we sit and wait for loading. I don't know how much longer I can wait for an elevator to open up going from one part of the stage to another. I literally have one time saw we're loading and I walked away, went and used the restroom, fed my dogs, come back, we still ain't even start the fight.
Yeah,
it doesn't make no sense.
It was a loading glitch that we're getting there, but
and that's been happening since the beta. So for you to still have that from the beta to now, what were you doing? So for me, that and the frame rates have improved from the beta, but it still didn't improve enough because you got the worst end of it. So in my opinion, that is what really affected their grade. But overall, I enjoy the game. It's fun. I will be playing it for a long time, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds. But it has a solid 7.
Yes.
So with that,
Definitely.
that gives us at a 6 and a 7.
6.5.
6.5.
6.5.
So
Yeah.
that's not bad. They're in the
6.5.
yellow. You know, on our scale from red, orange, yellow, and green, they're in the yellow. So they have room to improve. But as of right now, not a bad game. But I wouldn't tell people to go out of their way to rush for it.
Yeah.
Unless
The thing
they're
with me
diehard.
is maybe because of our background, we're military. I just think of these guys, they put in years into developing these games. And I know there's a lot of things that they require. There's a lot of tests that's going on, but imagine you have 8 working hours in a day, Monday through Friday. You can't tell me, man, like really, like what are you doing? And you even have game testers. So, and the fact that I had to get the digital deluxe edition to be able to play the beta and to be able to play the game 2 days early, it really pisses me off because you're paying me to be a game tester, and like you said, there are some issues that they did not, patch or worked on from the beta. And this is a game that had a beta weekend every weekend in the month of August. PlayStation was the first. I believe that they went to Xbox, then it was PC, and then they put everybody together. So, definitely this is something like I hate it when I'm paying $60 for a game and now it's probably gonna go up to like 70, with the new generation, and you still can't give me a product that is finished.
It's ready at launch.
So,
Right. That is a big pet peeve of mine. I couldn't agree with you more. You said that perfectly. I don't understand why I'm paying for a product that's not ready. It's annoying as hell because talking back to like we said earlier with the whole growing up in the 90s, right? When you bought when I was playing N64 and I bought my GoldenEye, guess what? GoldenEye was ready to go. There was no loading. There was no needing no updates. It was ready. Like that's what I get. It. Back in the day, games were simple, and it's not so simple today. But at the same time, I'm paying for a product. I want my product.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to pay for it and wait for you to patch it for the next week or two before I can actually make it playable. That doesn't make sense to me. And these loading times are alone. It makes me not want to play the game sometimes because the other day trying to load up with Just Wicked, same problem. We were sitting here for 20, 30, 40 minutes just trying to get in the same lobby so we can load up and play the game. That makes no sense. These things is what caused, in my opinion, their low rating. I mean, granted, it's still a decent game, but it could be a better game. It could be a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
They do have room to improve and patch and fix it up and make us feel better later. Especially with them hooking us up with that free Spider-Man later on. I'm not going to be complaining if everything's going great at that time. But as of right now, y'all on my bad list right now. Just for a little bit.
Yeah, I was surprised that Square Enix went with Crystal Dynamics for this because they had just released the Final Fantasy VII remake, and to me that was a very well together game. They did a great job. They took a 4-hour story and turned it into like a 40-hour gameplay. 60, really pushing it to go to 100%. So they did a really great job. And you can tell because they spent so much time working on that. Now, granted, they're talking about a flagship of the of the company, so they're definitely not gonna mess that up. But I just wanted to point out, Sucker Punch released Ghost of Tsushima. They did a new IP for the company, and they knocked it out of the ballpark with a few minor glitches, which they patched it on the day one release. The game was nearly perfect. So. And they have a much lower budget
and
to do that. Like I said before,
that reminds me of the Spider-Man launch. Same concept. Yeah. It was such a smooth launch. It's one of the since we've been playing on these modern platforms, PS4s and Xbox Ones and all those things. Since we've been in this modern era, to me, Spider-Man was the best launch ever. It was one of the most flawless launches and most flawless, almost perfect games I've ever seen. It's so almost perfect, I can't name a flaw at the top of my head right now. I would have to really think about it because it was such a well put together game. And there were, at launch, I had zero complaints. They patched it once or twice, and I didn't even know what they were patching because for me, I had no issues. So it was one of those nearly perfect experiences. Just like God of War, it was another one. Almost nearly flawless experience with that one. So it's very rare to get these moments these days. I'm getting annoyed with it because we should be able to get a game that drops like Avengers that should have more depth to the story, that should have been more prepared for us, especially when the beta came out and we had these similar issues that we all complained about and aired, and it launches and we still have these issues. It doesn't make sense. So overall, I'm excited to see what's coming, but I'm not super happy with the results as of yet.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, it's one of those things that only time will tell, but they have a lot of work to do, and that's all I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna leave it right there so we don't beat the dead horse.
Sounds like a plan.
Needed on the front lines. Hold tight. Might be a rough ride.
Thank you. I'll deliver the particle to Dr. Pym.
What is this place?
Hey, Resistance guy. Care to fill us in?
This is a safe house close to the anthill.
Yeah, it doesn't seem safe to me.
That's not good.
Pym's machine will be through in a matter of minutes.
Then let's take it out.
detecting a massive teleport signature.
Ah, damn it!
Heck, evacuate the Hill now!
I don't think so.
Hank, that doesn't look ready.
Come on, Tony, live a little.
Unbelievable. It worked!
Congratulations, Dr. Pym. The Resistance has an impressive new weapon.
It's sort of cute when they're small. Thanks, guys. I owe you one.